Hey, what's going on, folks? Larry, Packmaster Dog Training here. Happy Friday to everyone. I hope everyone really enjoys your weekend. Take advantage of it. Spend some time with your dogs. The next subject I want to cover here, well, it's kind of a two-part subject a little bit. I want to talk about engagement problems with your puppy and young dog and enjoyment problems with you yourself. So this video is kind of more about myself than anything. But I just figured that if I'm going through it, if that's the way I'm feeling, maybe there's some others struggling in the same situation, okay? And I'll tell you what got this started. Two things. Again, this is kind of a two-part subject. For one, you guys see Mango when I'm training. I've made a lot of puppy videos, and people, really enjoy them. They think she's great, and she is. But this is the first puppy I've ever had that will completely give me the middle finger when she feels like and just blow me off. I mean, stare right at me, and it don't matter what I do or say. She just has no interest, and that's kind of frustrating, and just like, I can't throw a toy for her, and she's not going to bring it back and drop it at my feet like most of my puppies really do. So I had to work around these problems, and then I'll get over to the other subject. Let's talk about the engagement issues first, okay? When we're training, she does great. Lots of engagement when there's something in it for her, okay? When she wants that toy or she wants that food, she's very food motivated right now at her age. She's all into me, and she looks great when you guys see her. But what you guys don't see, just like a lot of you struggle because many of you email me and talk to me, that engagement with her, I'm not that awesome to her. She's just not impressed by me, only when she benefits from it. So that's something that I had to fix, and I had to fix it quickly, because I could tell you right now, I'm not going to beg for a dog's engagement or a puppy's engagement. I want them begging for my engagement, okay? I need them to beg me to pay attention to them, plain and simple. So the way I changed that very quickly with Mango is for her next meal, it was an evening meal, there was no food bowl, there was no training pouch. That's important, because those things she's going to key on really quick. So even if I don't come out with a food bowl, if I have her food in a pouch, it's on. She knows the pouch and she knows what's happening. So what I did was I took her that meal rations, and instead of putting it in a pouch or a bowl, I put it in my pockets, okay? Through all my pockets, my side pockets, my back pockets. I went outside to do normal things, no training. I had to do some things around the house. I had to pick up poop, all outdoor stuff where sometimes it's just nice to have your dog hang out with you, okay? The first thing I did right in the beginning was, while she was near me and engaging a little bit, she looked at me, I said, yes. I reached in my pocket with my right hand, my right pocket, because she's already starting to key in on my left hand too much. So I'm rewarding with my left hand too much. Make sure you use both hands equally. And I produced just a few pieces of kibble, and I rewarded her. And then I went on to do my business, picking up dog poop, doing things around the house, cleaning the yard. And now it's okay, she knows I have food. But that whole time, I made her really have interest in me and followed me around, and I made her work really hard. And when she was engaged strongly and paying full attention and eye contact, sometimes I would say yes, reach in and reward. Other times I would just walk away. So I didn't reward every time. Also, I did not reward every time my hand went in my pocket. Sometimes I'd put my hand in my pocket, I'd say nothing, I'd do nothing, I'd walk away. But I was constantly moving away from her. And then she gave me good engagement, I may mark and reward. But I mixed it up, but I made her beg for my attention. And it really turned the tables very quickly right there. And where it really benefited was not just with that, but was with returning toys, playing fetch. Total game changer, change it instantly. So previously, before I started doing this, if I would throw a toy for her, a couple of things would happen. She'd run hard, get the toy, and lay down with it, have no interest in interacting with me with it. Or she'd run back toward me and run around and then lay down someplace else. The only time she would come and I'd get a toy away from her is if I had another toy to offer. And I kind of did that thing back and forth, which is okay. As long as I got her running back and forth, I knew I'd be able to get her to do what I wanted very quickly. So now with her working on the engagement, big time changes very, very quick. So now what I did was I took a ball on a rope that she liked. I threw the ball, okay? Let me say I rewarded her first, gave her a couple of pieces of food before I did this so she knew I had food. And so I threw the ball, and as she took off after the ball hard, as soon as she started running back in my direction, I reached in, grabbed some food, and when she got close to me, I said yes. I marked that, which made her come flying to me, drop the ball so she could eat the food out of my hand, okay? I want to stress that again. I did not ask her to out and then mark that. I don't want any conflict there because that may not work, okay? So what I did was I marked the fast return, which at that point made it go faster and come to me, spit out the toy so she could take the food. The reason that happens is she knows the marker word very well. So I'm going to mark the speed when she's coming toward me. She hears the marker word, that creates more speed because she knows that indicates something good is coming. Does that make sense? Okay, so what I saw in the workshop I did last week is many people, not just one or two, almost everyone who came out were using their marker words quite often and not producing any reward for the dog. So at that moment, that marker word becomes completely useless. See, that marker word is important because that builds speed in the dog coming to you, because that marker word should indicate something good is coming, at least most of the time. That's why the marker word, it only doesn't mark a moment in time when the dog does something you like, but it also announces that something awesome is coming. That's why it builds speed, okay? Very important. A lot of people at the workshop were not utilizing a marker word with their reward. They were just using a marker word, and you can't do that. That's never going to produce the speed and the dog that you want, okay? So very quickly in one session, we went from a puppy that will not come straight to me and drop a toy to coming straight to me and dropping a toy every time. Now, what I did was when I would mark it with a yes, once she dropped that toy, I would move my hand away from the toy to pull her further away before I gave her the food, because she's so slick. What she would do is she'd grab the food really fast and then grab the ball. You can't have that because then you're defeating the purpose. So I move her away from the toy with my hand and reward. And sometimes I throw it a little further and make her go get it, and it scatters all over, and now she's got to hunt for it. And then we repeat. And I've done it a couple times now, and she's doing absolutely fantastic. I will try to get all this on video, hopefully this weekend, because my kids are back to school, which means it's harder for me to get video, okay? Very, very well. So now, from that day on, just started doing that yesterday, the day before, now she's begging me for engagement, and that's what I wanted, so it worked very well. Then on a different note, okay, we all talk about burnout. All us trainers, everyone goes through it. It's exhausting, okay? You never get to the end of the amount of dogs that you have out there to train. But I was listening to a podcast the other day, Canine Paradigm, very good podcast. Glenn Cook and Pat Stewart out of Australia. It's a very good podcast. Check it out. And he was interviewing Forrest Mickey and Josh Moran. What's up, Josh? Josh is a good buddy, good dude. I don't know Forrest personally. And it was a really good interview, but it struck a nerve with me, man. It really did. I think it was Forrest that was talking about just taking a hiatus from training and, just traveling and getting back to being with his dogs and doing nothing, just enjoying them. And man, it like punched me on the side of the head. It hit me like a ton of bricks, because I've become so consumed in the dog training world and always worrying about training and doing the right thing and making sure I put up enough videos that people are asking for, and make sure you're impressing enough people, and make sure you're putting enough repetitions in your puppy, and it's absolutely exhausting. And I lost sight of what got me to where I'm at now, and that is the ability to have really well behaved, stable, happy dogs. Not that mine aren't, but I'm focusing too much on the other side. And it really got me thinking. The ironic thing is, the thing that got me recognized in the dog world first is something I don't pay a lot of attention to anymore. And that's just having really well-behaved dogs, off leash, no tools, wherever we go. That's all I ever wanted, and that's what I focused on. And it's something that I just never do anymore. And I mean, I'm so appreciative for that podcast yesterday. It was absolutely, it meant so much to me. I needed to hear it. And so Glenn and Pat and Forrest and Josh, thanks a lot. That was good timing, believe me, because I feel constant pressure, and I know I do that to myself. No one's demanding anything from me, but I do feel a lot of pressure. It was easier when no one knew who I was. It really was. Then I just did it for the love of it. And so what I did last night, I had the best time with Mango that I've had since we had her. Renzo had soccer practice, his first soccer practice. And so me and Renzo jumped in the Jeep and I took Mango. And she was going to have to eat while we were there. And so I went out there, and it's this huge soccer complex outdoors, and there's hundreds of kids and parents everywhere. I mean, it is chaotic. And I haven't really done anything like that with her yet because I get lazy, because I put all my time into working with her at this age, and then I go in the house. I don't want to do nothing until I have to work her again. So yesterday I said, no formal obedience. I'm going to just take her out and enjoy her. And I was a little concerned at first. I didn't know how she'd react. It's the first time I've done that. And we got her there. And I got to tell you, for that 1 hour and 15 minutes that we're out there, I had the best time I had with her since I've had her. And we just hung out. And she did absolutely amazing, When we first got there, we were there just for a couple of minutes. And this mom was walking by with her son, who was about 10 years old. And he keyed in on Mango, and he started walking over. He goes, "Oh, could I pet him?" I said, "Well, it's a her," but I said, "Actually, buddy, I'd appreciate it if you didn't." I said, "She's actually in training," and I went into some detail why I didn't want him to pet her. And he was a real cool kid, He was a really cool kid. His mom was nice. I was very polite about it, and they got it. And they walked away. And, after he walked away, then I was like, what the hell am I doing? I never did that before. I talk about how Bruno was the best dog I've ever had. And when he was a puppy, I let everyone come up and see him, and say hello to him, and pet him. Everybody. He met so many people before he was 16 weeks old. It was insane. And that never had any negative blowback, in his adult years. It didn't cause him to, every time he see a person, to run over them and be disobedient, to go say hi. It didn't do that, It was part of, I believe, what made him an incredible dog. So what I did during my stay there with Mango now is, a couple of times when the people first came by slow, she'd wanted to pull and go over to them, and I wouldn't allow her to. And then the second she gave me engagement, I marked it and rewarded. It took 1 or 2 times. And then what happened was she just lay down and relaxed, and there was people walking all around. But every time people came close to us, she would look up and make eye contact, and I'd say yes, and I'd feed. And I gave her very little at a time. So her meal lasted that full hour, and she did fantastic. And then back to the kid who I denied petting her. A little later on, I saw him. He wasn't with his mom. I say, "Buddy, come here." I said, "Come here. Stand right here. Do me a favor." I said, "Take this food, okay? And you just tell her to sit, whatever. And when she looks up at you, say yes, and just give her the food." He's like, "Oh, okay, cool." He was all excited, and he did it. And she was great. Not jumping on him. Now she started paying attention to him. He said, "Could I pet her now?" I said, "Go, absolutely, you go ahead." And he got down, and he loved on her, and she did great. And she went to jump up. I said, "Just stop petting her when she jumps up, and wait till she sits." And he did great, but he was so happy, and it made me very happy, okay? So then once I allowed that kid to do it, within 15 minutes, we had probably 8 or 9 kids all around her and asking me questions, and I was talking and explaining things to them. And, everyone thought she was a German Shepherd. I went into that, and we just talked. I talked to these kids, and it was awesome. And the whole time, Mango just hung out, just hung out with me, hung out with the kids, and she did fantastic. And what it did was, it really put me at ease, and I just enjoyed my time there. It was hotter than shit. I was sweating. I had long, heavy pants on. I was sweating, and I loved it. I loved every minute of it. And when Renzo came off the field, even Renzo said, "Wow," he said, "Mango did really good today, Dad." I said, "She sure did." I was very proud of her. I really was. And I really only did that because of the conversation those 4 dudes were having out in Australia on the podcast. I've gotten too far away from my true love. And my true love are the dogs, not dog training, not dog fixing. That's part of it. I've learned to love that, but I truly love the animal itself. And there is nothing more rewarding than sitting on my front porch with a glass of whiskey on a nice night with all my dogs hanging around me. That's the ultimate dog thing as far as I'm concerned. I love it. And so if you guys are struggling there, if you're a dog trainer and you're struggling, it's normal. Everyone goes through it. But go back and find what you love the most in the dog world and just do it. Don't put no pressure on yourself. And I think those guys touched on that too, if I'm not mistaken, said the same thing. And so these podcasts are great, all of them. If it's a podcast about a dog, I'll listen to it because I'm a dog nerd. So anything dog, I'm doing, okay? But sometimes you hear something come out of someone other's mouth and you're like, damn, it really hits you. You realize that's where you're at, So the first part of this video, the engagement, that'll help all you guys. Trust me. Don't beg for your dog's engagement. Let them beg you for it, okay? Plain and simple. And get back to loving your dogs and enjoying them. Don't put so much pressure on them or yourself. I'm going to start doing that several times a week now. And I'm going to make her the best dog I can. But to do that, it has nothing to do with a head up heel and bite work and fancy tricks. It has nothing to do with it. That's for us. It's not for them. For us is that stuff, the fancy stuff, the things we're teaching them. It's all just tricks. What's for them and us together is just being together in total peace and harmony, enjoying each other wherever and however you can. That's it. Get your dogs out and enjoy them. And again, to the Canine Paradigm dudes and Forrest and Josh, thanks, folks. That was very good. Helped me out a great deal. You did good work there. Peace.